We can do your job, but you can't do our job.
The SBS go underwater, the SAS walk on water. That's the difference, isn't
my
it? We're
God.
above it, mate. Let's just shake hands on it. Pash, we've done the same selection. Let's shake hands on it, mate.
Oh, yes.
Bulldog.
First one for you. You're in the middle of a tour a long way from home. Would you rather a proper toilet, a proper meal?
Oh, I'm a chick. I need...
I think.
I've peed in some horrible places, but...
You've had no experience of bad meals, though.
Well,
Fair one.
I'll be honest though, I never found rat packs that bad, right? I didn't think rations and scoff was an issue. I would like to not sit on a thunderbox with flies pecking.
Yeah. The first rule of support helicopters, we have like a rule book, and the first rule is never pass porcelain.
You're 5 minutes into a tour, right? 5 minutes into a tour.
Specifically 5 months.
You've been shitting the John bags if you're of that era. At this side, you've been eating rat packs, right? You're tabbing along.
Yeah.
You get the option of gold-plated, amazing porcelain, beautiful box.
Right.
7-course extravaganza meal. If Italian's a favourite, it's Italian. Silverware.
Right, yeah.
Amazing plate.
Yeah. I'd rather have a decent toilet because I didn't mind the scoff.
Oh my God.
I mean, bearing in mind the challenges of I have it being a female in the military, it's always find a toilet. Like I spent a lot of my life planning when the next toilet stop's going to be, because there's no toilet on board of a Chinook for females. There's a pee tube for blokes. There isn't such a luxury for females.
Imagine a respirator in an aircon toilet. That's what I'm saying.
I had to drag it down, didn't you?
I remember being out in the first Gulf War even back then as a kid. And we spent 5.5 months out in the desert, and we used to just dig a pit. And everybody used to wait to go having the poo in that pit. And it used to be horrible, the flies all around it. And you have to go with your mate, and it's, oh God. And there's nothing better, let's face it. A meal's good, but you can't beat a good dump.
The dump lasts 30 seconds.
Yeah.
No.
The meal...
Depends. It's not after all me waxing.
And you get to see it come out as well. You get the
That's what you call it.
Hang on. You've had that really nice meal. Bear in mind you've been on rat for the last, 6 months. That's going to go straight through you like a shortcut.
Yep.
What are you going to want after that?
Exactly. You're going to want our box then. Do you know, I think the boxes that we've picked say a lot about our previous experiences, don't they, rather than our future wants?
Yeah.
Because I've never had to live on rat packs, so actually I don't have that as a leveler, but I've always had that moment where I really need to go to the toilet.
So you've never had to go with your friend and watch him poo, or just cover him, or do back-to-back pooing.
No, but I've never had to live on rat packs.
What's
so
the worst rat pack meal that you get?
Corned beef hash.
Corned beef hash.
Or fruit dumplings and custard.
You could put your
Corned beef
Dumplings. Oh.
Yeah, the syrup. The syrup and the dumplings.
Yeah.
Do some regiments get better food? Out of you guys as a group, who would have eaten the best?
The RAF. 100%.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Would you rather save a civilian, save a squad mate?
It's an easy one.
That's an hard one.
That's an hard one, yeah.
That's a really hard one. I feel bad for being stood in this box.
I'll give an example, right? So on Telic 4, I patched up a little Iraqi kid who'd been clipped in the head. And that's one of the things that's proper stuck with me my whole life, even post-service, was not knowing. I had to drop her off at some little hospital and I never know whether she survived or not. And that's stuck with me. On the flip side, I've never struggled personally patching up the lads, because you go into kind of an autopilot of it. It's horrendous, I'm not saying it's not. I'm not trying to compare the two, but...
This is a difficult one because there's the what should you do? As we all know, like in the spirit of, not in the heat of battle, as you're fighting through, you're trying to take enemy position, for example, if a team member, a squad member gets injured, goes down, what you should do is ignore them and you carry on with the battle and you win the firefight. And in the scenario where civilians are getting hit, it's the same scenario. What should you do in that situation is difficult, but it's not treat either of them, it's win the battle. This is like, what would you rather do? I think.
But it's a question of, at the end of that, how much kit have you got then?
Are we saying that they're both injured at that point, the civilian and a squad member?
And the thing is, I can't even argue to bring you back, because I think that's really honourable as well, and that's why this is such a hard question.
Well, I'm coming you on the assumption. I think I know my squad member has got the ability, maybe, well, he's got first aid knowledge himself. If he's conscious, he can treat himself. I also know that as my other team members will be able to treat him, and there's definitely going to be mutual support will come through and help treat him. The civilian won't have a clue what's going on. They almost definitely won't be able to support themselves if they're conscious and treat themselves in any way, shape or form. And is unlikely to have some dedicated support there to be looking after them. Medic, for example. Hospital nearby, maybe not correct. So I'll go to the civilian first on the assumption that they're higher risk than the squad member, and the squad member will be looked after.
Well, then we need to look at, are you going to expose the team, are you going to expose the mission, are you going to expose yourself for pushing forward, saving that civilian?
Yeah. Another question would be, if your oppo was on the floor and a civvy next to him, and if you had the opportunity with your morphine, who would you give that to? Because I'd definitely give it to the oppo.
If I'm on my own, it's just me, squad member civvy, squad member first.
Without any mitigating circumstances and would you, should you, could yous, I'd stand here.
Yeah, you'd like to think if that was the case, that's what you'd do. And you'd want everybody to do the same thing.
You won't be able to choose everybody.
Great answers, guys. Thank you so much.
That was a solid question.
That wasn't a nice one, was it?
You're captured by the enemy. Would you rather undergo physical torture or undergo mental torture?
Very tough one.
That's it. That, innit?
I was quite quick to make that decision based on the fact I'm a woman. I'd much rather mental torture and mental breakdown because I feel like I'm quite strong mentally. But I think in terms of physicality, they could literally rip you apart with physical torture. Whereas if you can keep your brain strong, then you can push through anything. So I think if you can resist mental torture, then that's what I'd pick.
And that's the reason we are here, isn't it? Because
you'd rather have physical?
Yeah.
So you guys, as in the SF guys, you got more experience in this than I definitely have.
So what I'd say is different people have different pain barriers. It's like SAS and Special Forces, SBS, Special Forces selection. You all go through a real tough part, which is the physical part, and it's meant to physically hit you and all the rest of it. And you can train your body to do that. Sometimes people do, unfortunately, get injured in it, okay? But injuries fix. Whereas you can't train a mind to take so much. And if you push her over the edge, you can't fix that brain. It's very difficult to come back.
And there's so many steps on that throughout, personally, my career, I've hidden all that, and at some point, all them steps have kicked me in the balls, and it's all gone together. So if I got kicked to the in the first place, I'd be happy with that, I can get on with it. But all them steps in the hard drive have been stuck in there, and all of a sudden, at one point, it's processed, and it me.
And it's funny how all the people who've been for the Special Forces type have gone over this side for the explaining it before the physical type.
And I think you're right.
And
I think
mental
your
injury,
argument...
they can do you in so many ways. It doesn't have to be just you going mentally. Mental injury is like, you know that mentally they are doing something to your family or something's happening to the kids, and that, you know,
You're saying mental injury. I was going to say you're assuming that they can break through your mental barrier, but if you've got a strong enough mind, then you can.
I don't think anybody's got a really strong enough mind. That's why they know if they tip you over that edge, there's no coming back.
I think for me, mind is so important to keep clean rather than the body. So I'd rather have a pain in the body and lose a leg or limbs, still living peacefully and achieve the limitation exist in the mind, not in the body. So I rather keep my mind peace and clean, so I don't lose my body. Still you can achieve and live in the moment and be happy and peaceful. I think that's the reason I choose the body.
The mind goes before the body.
But that's why I'm standing here, because I think my mind would resist longer than my body would.
No, your mind will go before your body.
I don't think it would, I don't know.
Unless, when you get older, then you start getting up in the morning, your body goes before your mind. You're like, oh.
Would you rather be a paratrooper or be a Marine?
Fuck me.
Oh, come on.
What about the middle? That's not count.
Airborne all the way, come on.
I'm gonna go this way.
You can launch your defence, go for it.
I'm ex-army, right? And if I was to live my time again, I think having seen the kind of approach that the Marines that I've worked alongside at times have taken to things, and this like more maturity and the different approach to things, I would probably swing towards that.
Marines are good lads, but they're just different. There's a different breed. They have about 4 showers a day. What's that all about?
because I'm clean.
You don't need it
anyway.
Follow Marine
Simple
background.
as that.
Okay.
Because we're more essence.
The Marines.
Oh, you ruined that. Ruined it.
Come on, go into that.
ex-Marine. You was ex-Marines, so you went to the top of the tree in the Marines, which is like the SBS.
You're right.
Now, really, let's face it, majority of Army go to the SAS.
Well, it's the same
big
thing,
difference.
It's the same kind of...
No, listen.
We can do your job, but you can't do our job.
The SBS go underwater, the SAS walk on water. That's the difference, isn't it? We're above it, mate.
Which is harder to get into, just out of interest from an outside point of view?
Oh God, you've opened a can of worms there.
Well, ours is longer.
I think what I've seen with the Marines and what I've seen with the Army is the Army sort of understand who's in charge and who's doing what. Okay, because the majority of soldiers are solid, so they need a full screw, they need a platoon sergeant, and they need to work under instructions. Now, I think with the Marines, obviously that could fall under the Navy, is they can all think for themselves, and they all are actually quite intelligent people. And with what I've seen and what I think is my personal opinion is they all think for themselves instead of listening of who's in charge. You know, and yeah, they can all think.
But the question was, who's the better soldier?
Well, so we do, because we understand how to follow orders.
I think the advantage of infantry units, so even just stepping away from Power Edge, okay, and this is the most popular a ginger bloke has ever been, teens have been in society, is that the advantage that infantry units have compared to the infantry unit of the Navy, Royal Marines, okay, is that we are constantly in competition. We are constantly on courses with each other, we're constantly on exercise with each other, we're constantly on operations with each other. We constantly have to show ourselves to be good at our job. And I think the Marines don't have that a lot. And I think that what can lead to is it makes it difficult to bring your skill level up. Now, I'm not saying bootlegs are not great. The Royal Marines are obviously a very, 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 they're an elite force of the British forces, right? Elite force. But I do think they have a harder job to maintain that standard than what Army units do.
What's the percentage of, the highest percentage of, say, the military that goes in SF? Where do they come from?
Oh.
Okay, they come from the Army.
No, they don't. They come from the Royal Marines. There's about 47%.
Exactly, they're all leaving. None of them want to be a Marine anymore.
Let's just shake hands. Pash, we've done the same selection. Let's shake hands on it, mate.
Oh, yes.
Bulldog!
Would you rather your team had a sense of humour or a sense of camaraderie?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Yeah, definitely need him, mate.
I think the camaraderie comes with the banter, if I'm honest.
Yeah, but I think back to my old crews, I think there's loads of funny on the crew, but actually they didn't have your back. So having your back and having your six is more important than cracking a joke when the hits the fan.
I don't agree with that at all, because the founder of the SAS, David Stirling, the ethos is 5 points. Classlessness, humility, integrity, pursuit of excellence, and finally a sense of humour. If you've got somebody who hasn't got a sense of humour, that's it, they're just a hard...
Especially with the stuff that we do.
You've got to.
You know, you've got to find the funny side of it.
But do you not think if you don't have camaraderie, if you don't have that kind of we're all looking after each other, we're all in this together, we've got your six, you're never going to have the sense of humour because you don't trust each other, and actually camaraderie and trust go hand in hand. I've got mates who were brilliant lads, like absolutely amazing on the really, really funny lads, but I wouldn't trust them as far as I throw them. I wouldn't trust them with me.
Just with what?
Cat or dog.
What would you trust them?
Would you trust them with your wife? Would you trust them with your boyfriend? You know, that kind of thing. It's like, would you trust them to do the right thing, that moral courage thing, do the right thing when no one's watching?
You know, that humour, that laughter after a battle, you know, which we definitely all experience, that's not down to a developed sense of humour in the team or as an individual. That's down to doing crazy stuff, that adrenaline still pumping when the fears, when the threat has gone down. And it's a sense of elation of, I'm still here and I survived. That's not a humour thing. I think it's common across anyone who's got an ounce of sense about them, who've just realised they've been in a near miss or nearly been killed or they've won the battle.
Would you rather have never served or do it all again?
Oh, it's fucking easy. Get me in this box.
That's easy, yeah.
Why is that so easy?
It makes the fibre of what we are, I think, our time in the service.
Yeah, I'd be living a depressing life if I thought, I wish I'd never served. You know, I look back on it really fondly, and I think my brain definitely does less of a job of remembering the really tough stuff. But I am who I am today because of what I served. That's the positive and the negative experiences. Is a huge impact on the quality of a person you are when you serve, regardless of how long that service is.
You just remember all the good times, and there's many more good times outnumber the bad times.
Yeah.
And the military life and banter You look at anybody who's ever left early, a lot of them say, oh, God, more of them say, I wish I stayed, I wish I stayed. It's one of
His regret was leaving.
And this life skills that it gives you as well, it's not another level in the camaraderie. You know, you've got friends for life, but you've also got some skills and like just communication and all that kind of stuff that's so much better when you come out of the military than it ever is before you go in.
And also I think there is a saying in Himalayas, if the mother and the children need a food, the son has to go on the war. So basically, you know, I think without us serving, there is no future for our generation. So I think serving is the way forward and who we are.
Oh, he's a man of few words, but he comes out with the last one.
But if I joined again, I'd definitely go with something like the RAF, because you've got better food, better toilets, better hotels, better gyms. There's no fighting now about the RAF.
That was good fun.
Nice to see you.
How quickly could you take out everyone in this room? Depends what I've got, doesn't it? But I've got a decent-sized grenade to just about cope with this stuff. If I'm down to a sharp pencil, it's going to take a while and get a bit messy, isn't it?